Hi, if you don't know, my name is Isaiah, but I go by Billy, and I'm here on YouTube documenting my journey of self-improvement and personal development and all of its trial and error 1 week at a time. Yeah, it's been over a month since I've uploaded. Now I know you see the title of this video, so I guess I'll just get right into it. I'm in New York, and both of my parents live in Virginia. And it'll be important for the sake of this video to start with my mother being diagnosed with breast cancer. I found out around like early February that my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. In my compartmentalization video, I talked about getting some bad family news, and it was that and how I had to navigate being able to work and just get things done while also dealing with the emotions and stresses of things like your mom dealing with such such a serious situation. And in that time, it really was an issue, right? Like, as I mentioned, I'm on this journey of self-improvement and personal development, and it truly is a lot of trial and error, right? I'm just trying these things, I'm making these videos not in a way of saying, hey, these are things that I've mastered and this is how you do it. It's more so these are things that I'm working on, and this is what I've learned and how I'm implementing them within myself and my lifestyle. So, that said, around that time in February, it took me out of this state of creativity because I was just more so concerned about, the health of my mother. And we were planning my daughter's birthday was a few months after that. So we were planning to have my parents come and visit here in New York and, see my daughter, Melanie, and just celebrate her birthday. So finding out that she had breast cancer really put a halt on things, because just a couple months after that, let's say Aprilish, uh, maybe early May, found out. Yeah, maybe early May. Again, even closer to my daughter's birthday, we were still seeing about how they may feel to possibly meet up, and we find out that she has to get a vasectomy. So boom, she gets her vasectomy, and we realize, okay, they're not going to be able to come and see May for her birthday because of the surgery. So I have another sibling here in New York that lives close by, and her and I began to plan a trip for us to go to them and surprise my mom and lift her spirits through this difficult time. Bring May down, and my sister brought a couple of her, bringing a couple of her kids there, and just try our best to just be around and lift spirits and see her and let May be around and just have a good time, right? Mind you, all this time dealing with this stuff, right? I have a video where I talk about content batching, and I had maybe 2 months worth of content batched. I mentioned being out of that state of creativity during this time. So I wasn't recording fresh videos. I wasn't writing. I wasn't, obviously I wasn't uploading. Even, I have the Tell Me About It series. I wasn't really able to even go out and get that content done because I'm just planning and working and trying to work more hours, get more money for this trip, talk to my 9-to-5 job and work out, the time off that I need and things like that. All of my batched content is being used up without more being created, right? So I just chalked it all up to, what, we have a nice, the way the channel is set up, it's meant to be almost, like TV program, like, where, there are like episodes and seasons. So, I ended up just, saying, hey, what we have will be season 1, and we'll take a, a little break while I get things situated here, and, spend some time with my mother. And once things are settled and I'm back in town, we'll begin season 2. of the village, right? So now, boom, my sister and I plan this trip to Virginia, and we arrive June 8th. Everything's happening in a span of 4 months, right? I find out my mother has breast cancer around February. Uh, my daughter's birthday is in May. They weren't able to come because we found out, a month prior to that she had, or even less, a couple of weeks prior to that my mother had a vasectomy. Then June, the month after, a couple weeks after my daughter's birthday, we arrived to Virginia to show love, right? Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about my dad. My dad is a great father. He has been, in my view, my entire life. To the point where he was able to maintain functional alcoholism for apparently the majority of my life, and me not even understand or see what that looks like until hearing about it in my later teen years. He's always been able to provide and be there for me emotionally if I needed him, or any other way, right? So my relationship with my father has always been pretty solid. It got a little rocky in the recent years, being more of an adult and having my daughter, and then really wanting him to live a healthier lifestyle. Not just me, all of the whole family, trying to get him to have a healthier lifestyle, and just the struggles of dealing with that. If you have any alcoholics in your family, you could probably relate to the struggles that come with that, right? Getting to Virginia in June, it's already very well known how my father is. We're there just to support my mom and make sure, that she's all right, and see how her headspace is through all of this crazy stuff going on, right? So things start off relatively great. I have a hotel, and in this hotel, there's an indoor pool, and we're there and they're having a good time, and my daughter's there. My father shows up. My sisters, both of them are there at this point because my other sister already lived in Virginia. She's there, and we're all just having a great time, And even in this indoor pool, I could tell that my father had been drinking, but that's, at this point, it's almost expected, to see him in that state rather than in a sober one, right? So it's like, all right, I'm not really thinking much of it. And even in the pool, he's, stopping at times and just to look at me and say, I'm really enjoying myself. I'm so happy that this is happening. He's like, thank you so much for coming. This, you don't understand how much this means to me. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm glad, like, awesome. But he had that moment like 3 or 4 times in the pool, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad he's enjoying himself. But it was a little, I'm like, he's really, it was notable how, thankful he was. And anyways, at this hotel, it wasn't much space. That we had a lot of people, and it was a little cramped, right? So we decided to get another room. But my sister's like, hey, let's get one with the outdoor pool as well, so that we can have both vibes and enjoy ourselves. Because it was really hot. It was in the middle of a heat wave as well. So we're like, cool. Yeah, let's do the outdoor one as well. Next day, second day there, we arrived late Sunday on the 8th. Had a good first day on that Monday on the 9th, and then the 10th, that Tuesday. The next day, we're like, okay, we're going to the outdoor pool. Again, at the start of the day, we know my father's obviously intoxicated, and it's clear, right? But I'm like, yo, he's really, he seemed to be really lit. But again, we've seen him in the state multiple times, time and time again for years, right? So again, not thinking much of it. We're all getting ready for the outdoor pools, nice and fresh. It was a great time of the day. And it was a little deeper, right? The indoor pool that I was at only went up to like maybe 6 feet. The outdoor one that we were at this day went down to 10. And everybody's getting all excited, getting ready, getting on the sunscreen, doing whatever, switching to swimming clothes. And at this point, it's me, my sister, her son, my mom. Wait, it's me, my Melanie, my daughter, my sister, her son, my mom, and my dad. And we're all in the outdoor pool getting ready. We're not in the pool yet. We're just getting ready, right, around. My other nephew was there, but he stayed in the room and slept. So we're all getting ready to go into the pool, and my dad's being his naturally social self, going around, hey, yeah, you're talking to strangers, other people around. Yeah, man, I'm so excited for this pool, man. We're about to, yeah, but he's clearly intoxicated, and he kind of amps up a little bit when he's lit as well. So he's the most excited to get into the pool out of everybody. He's walking around talking to people and stuff. So we finally get in, and we're like maybe 20, 30 minutes into the pool, and mind you, we were in like towards the deeper end, and my dad, me, and my sister were all just joking around, and my dad's like talking about how he can swim laps around me and he can beat me in a race right now if he wanted to, and I'm like, all right, whatever, Pop. And we're just having a good time, and he was just saying, we just had that conversation. That conversation ends, and my daughter, she has floaties, 2 floaties on her arm and the ring floaties, so she's kind of paddling around the pool, in view and close enough, to where I can get to her. But I'm letting her do her thing because she got all the floaties on. We had a beach ball there, and the beach ball was all the way at the back of the pool, like all the way deep in the deep end at the corner, right? So my daughter's paddling towards that ball, and my dad's looking, and he's like, where's she going? What's she doing? And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, she's trying to get that ball. So if I can explain this right, she's coming up this way to the corner, and me and my dad are over here on the other side of the pool. And we noticed the ball going. My daughter's making her way towards it. My father's going, and we're talking, and we noticed, and he's like, so I guess he decided that he was going to try to get the ball as well. Maybe if it was just to get there first or to help her and get the ball and bring it to her, but he ended up going to meet her to the ball. So he literally in this time, he goes, and I see him begin to swim, and I turn around towards the wall of the pool just because I'm like, all right, they're doing their thing. And I look back to see how far they go, and my daughter's still paddling. My father's midway towards the ball, but not swimming anymore. Just like jumping, doing that thing where your feet can't touch the floor of the pool, so you sink down and jump up, and then sink down and jump up. He's doing that, but not like panicking or anything. He's just simply doing that. He's just simply just going down and going up, going down, going up. He does that like two or three times. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, are you okay? And I'm noticing that his mouth isn't going all the way up out the surface, which like kind of alarmed me. I'm like, are you okay? And he shook his head no, and went down one more time, but like different. Like it was like a little sinking, right? Like it wasn't going down to jump up. He just went down, and when I just noticed, and I just jumped right in with it as soon as he shook his head no. And I was swimming towards him. He was getting lower and lower towards the floor, so I went to pick him up and tried to swim up, but before I can get back to the surface with him, I couldn't. I was losing breath myself. And I still had some ways to get up to the surface while holding him up. Now I'm swimming with one arm trying to get up. And in that moment, I thought about Melanie, and I'm like, Melani's there, still in the pool with us. So I'm like, I don't want to it would be a shame for both of us to drown because I was trying to save him, So when I realized I didn't think I was gonna make it to the surface, I I let go quick to grab air and tried to go back down and catch him before he got to the floor. I got air, but he was sinking. He sunk, and I went down and he got to the floor of the pool, and I saw him. He just kind of like sunk like a rock, right? Hit the floor of the pool. So I tried to grab him up. He hit the floor face down. I picked him up and tried to again swim. And this time I put him up kind of on top of me on my shoulder so I can use both arms to get up and swim faster. But then he breached the surface, but he's over like on my back, so I can't get air. So I tried to like roll over and get air, but he fell out again down off my arm. And that's when I realized too much time is passing and I need to accept that I can't do this by myself. So I just swam up and started yelling for help. Help, my dad, I can't save him, help. The people around me, my mom and my sister, they're all yelling for help as well. And for a split second, it was just the most intense feeling of defeat that I've ever experienced in my entire life. In that moment, for a second, all I can do is yell out the biggest curse and smack the water, like, because that was just like, damn, I couldn't do it. So thankfully, shout out to Hugo. Got to know him a little after. Hugo happened to be delivering a load or a package or something in a truck, riding through Virginia, happened to be there, stopped, and he was about to leave, but had to stop and ask the front desk people something or whatever, and he said he saw us playing earlier and knew everything was fine, but he heard yelling and thought maybe we were just getting rowdy. But when he heard help, I can't save my dad or whatever, he heard me yelling, he came over, jumped in, and started trying to get him out. And he said that he even at the moment was struggling trying to get him out by himself until finally another young man jumped in as well and helped him. And with both of them, they pulled him out, and my sister as well at the edge of the pool pulled him out. And my sister said that apparently she pulled him out, and he came up on top of her, and it was just dead weight because at this point he's unresponsive. She gets him off, and Hugo begins CPR resuscitation. Mind you, I'm also CPR certified as well, and I wanted in that moment nothing more to be able to help and at least tap him out if he gets tired and me take over for a little while until the first responders come. Unfortunately, I had to remember that my 5-year-old daughter was still there, and she saw him, she's seeing him trying to be resuscitated, and she's looking and screaming and crying. So I had to prioritize her in that moment and pick her up and just leave the scene, right? So to avoid her having any further trauma. So I get her, leave the pool area, and now that I have my daughter in my hands, that still is delaying me from being able to really process and work through what I'm experiencing, what I'm feeling at the moment. I had to, be strong for my little girl, right? She's in my arms right now, and I have to reassure her that everything's okay. I want Pop-Pop. What's wrong with Pop-Pop? What happened? What's wrong with Pop-Pop? Is he okay? And I'm just reassuring her, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. There was a Wendy's right across the parking lot. I took her over there and to get an ice cream cone in hopes that it would distract her. She got the ice cream, and I'm still kind of in shock. So I'm just ordering, and people see that we're still wet. She got the floaties on. I got my swimming trunks. So we're walking in the Wendy's, and they see the ambulance and the police officers over there, and people are looking at me like, "Hey, what's going on? Were you over at that pool? Is everybody okay?" But I think at that point I was really in too much shock to respond. So I just kind of like nodded in my head or something and just kept on walking and sat down with Melanie and just kind of looked her in her eyes and tried to keep my composure. The Wendy's lady was nice enough that she asked if it was for the ice cream was for her. I was like, yeah, and she gave it to her for free. And we just sat down. and she was eating ice cream, and I felt myself kind of struggling more to keep it together. So I ended up heading back towards the hotel once I saw that the paramedics left with my dad, and went back, and eventually my sister was able to come, and after she was processing her emotions, and my mother checking on everybody, and they was able to take Milani from me for a little while, and I was able to fully release everything I was feeling, just bursting into tears. Why, what happened, I can't believe, I was just in shock. A lot of a deep sense of failure, deep sense of like, my biggest thing was, if nobody else was there and it was truly just up to me, my father would be dead. And it's been very, very difficult like processing, and trying not to blame myself and be too hard on myself, and yeah, he ended up surviving. He was in the ICU for days to come, and we found out that he was 3 times over the drinking limit, as well as having narcotics in his system. So apparently, perhaps he was just swimming and just couldn't swim anymore. He was too influenced, I guess. And he took narcotics because he's had back surgeries. He was on pain meds, things like that as well, and you know didn't care. Was very, very drunk as well. So now here we are, a few weeks later, and they let him stay in the hospital so he can go through his withdrawals from alcohol as well, and have the medicine he needs to work through that. And according to the doctors, he had this. I had to, after being in the ICU, after seeing him and being with my mom, we had to go back to New York, for work, and Melania had to finish up school, all that good stuff. So we had to head back. But in talking with my mother and the doctors and things like that, he was making a very speedy and miraculous recovery for the amount of time that he was without oxygen under the pool. He should not have been. He's almost like you can't tell it even happened, which is amazing. I'm very, very grateful for that. So now lately, it's been a matter of me really trying to just get back on my grind, right? Get back to the content, get back to work. Transitioning for Melani's, she's graduating pre-K and is starting kindergarten, real school next year. And in between time here, we're looking for summer programs for her and trying to get her situated so that way I can still get to work, and she can have childcare. So thank God for my father's health. It's unfortunate that a trip to boost the spirits of my mother being diagnosed with breast cancer and losing a breast, that trip for her turned into a bit of a tragic experience. But after the day that my dad drowned, my sister and I wanted to go out of our way to go back before we left Virginia. We wanted to go back to the pool that it happened at, and have one more swim. My sister felt that it was her idea, really. She felt that she wanted to really kind of accomplish that or overcome that, because if she didn't, she feared that being back in New York, it would be problematic for her, which I could agree. So we both went back, as well as our kids. My daughter Melani, she was concerned about Pop, but she was able to see him, and yeah, she was able to see him. We took him in there while he was in ICU, and she, held his hand, and I was able to talk to her, and she was able to process. And very quickly after, she was very much ready to get back into the pool. So she came as well, and we all jumped right in. I was the first one in. I went directly to the spot where my father drowned, where I saw him sink to the bottom, and I jumped in right at that spot, and we laughed and had a great time. My brother was there. My brother came to town after he found out the accident. He drove a few hours to come and be with everybody at the hospital. So he was there, and we all just had a good time and had a little movie night after. We went out to eat and just celebrated life, celebrating my father still being here, and had a movie night that night. Saw some other family and friends and loved ones, and came back home the next morning. Being back in town and trying to get back into the swing of things has been rough, right? Now we're getting more into this month gap here, right? We saw the sequence of events leading up. I ran out of my batched content and still have been struggling to write scripts or record or, just do my normal thing, my content calendar, and really lock in at my 9 to 5 and do Tell Me About It and things like that. And I've realized that it just comes down to a decision being made. I'm deciding to not be stuck. I'm deciding to not self-blame. I'm deciding to stay true to my path and my journey and just carry on, trying every day to strive to be better than the last, right? So with that said, what's next for the channel? The Village Season 2, right? This is all the forms of content coming together and then some, right? We will be resuming with the weekly Wednesday videos, but it's gonna be a little different, right? Before, it's always been just specifically tips, hints, how-tos, things like that. But I really want to try to get more content like this, where I'm just talking to the villagers, you know what I mean? Everybody supporting and just having kind of like a one-on-one, and y'all getting to know me a little more in depth and personally, and hopefully me getting to know y'all with the engagement in the comments. So we're gonna add that. It's not gonna be every time a tip or how to, or it could be in this room. It could be at the at the studio desk, or it could be short form content, just a quick check-in, updates, things like that, just real candid videos. We will be beginning season 2 of Tell Me About It, where I give strangers the chance to talk to an unbiased and interested ear. So obviously can't wait for that. Jumping back in, we got some I'm gonna try to hit state fairs, parades, farmers markets, anywhere really with high foot traffic, right? We got holidays coming up, and really get out and talk to the people. And as well as not just that, being in areas where people are a little more down and out, kind of going through things, right? Being near the Department of Social Services building, going really into the hoods, you know what I mean, and just posting up and seeing if give those people a chance to share their story, right? And have a voice in that way as well. And lastly, another thing I'm very, very excited about, we will be introducing this fall the start of the podcast It Takes a Village, where I interview community workers, your local mailman, the local bus driver, the librarian, a construction worker, police officer, anybody working in the community on the front lines, nurses, right? And hearing a day in the life, right, at work, while also giving them the chance to talk about things that they may be passionate outside of work that they have going on. Very, very, very excited for that. And of course, we'll be resuming and having more engagement on all the social huts, right? The YouTube hut, the Facebook hut, the Instagram hut, TikTok hut, the email hut, all the huts, more engagement, and locking back in and getting the content rolling again. I cannot wait. And of course, no matter what, we will always remain ever learning, growth oriented, and evolutionary thinkers here in the village. If you made it all the way to this point in the video, allow me to personally invite you to be an official villager in the village. All you have to do is simply hit that subscribe button, and boom, it's done. That's it. Leave a comment saying "we here," so I know it's real. So I know you actually did it. So I know you're actually listening to this part right now. And until next time, this